She was a bright-eyed teenager, an honor roll student, and ultimately, a cold-blooded murderer. Notorious woman number 10, Diane Zamora.
Diane was always the overachieving student. She'd always wanted to go to the Naval Academy, and she had said that she wanted to become an astronaut.
17-year-old Diane from Grand Prairie, Texas, began dating 18-year-old David Graham, an ROTC battalion commander, in August 1995. They seemed like a perfect couple.
They became almost entranced with each other immediately because they were a mirror image of one another. He had this kind of total devotion to her, and she, in turn, seemed almost perfectly obsessed with him.
David and Diane planned to be married after they graduated college, but their seemingly perfect relationship had one major problem.
Adrian Jones, this girl, simply was at school with David. She was on the track team, and he befriended her. He claims they had sex. There's no proof of this.
David says he was consumed by guilt over the affair with Adrian Jones and eventually confessed to Diane.
She was angry and upset when he told her about this alleged tryst that he had had with Adrian Jones. That she was upset and basically drew a line in the sand that says, you know, you got to make a choice. It's her or me. And if it's going to be me, you got to kill her.
On December 3rd, 1995, David called Adrian and invited her to take a drive.
She sneaks out of her house and she's pretty late and gets in the car with David Graham, not knowing at that time that Diane Zamora was hiding in the back of the car.
They drove to a secluded area near Joe Pool Lake in Grand Prairie. David and Diane had a deadly scheme.
They were planning to snap her neck and drop the body in the lake, but it didn't go as planned.
Adrian put up a struggle.
Diane comes out from the back seat, grabs a dumbbell, whacks her in the head twice.
But, according to David's confession, they stood there stunned because it didn't kill her. Adrian began to run off into the woods. Diane said, "We got to do something. You go kill her."
According to police documents, David took a 9mm handgun he kept in the car, shot Adrian twice in the head, and left her to die in a field. Then Diane and David exchanged I love yous and drove to a friend's house.
The town of Mansfield was stunned. An unsolved murder of one of the high school's prettiest blondes. So, along with this shock came suspicion and paranoia.
The investigation went nowhere. When they had interviewed David, the cops even said to themselves, wow, this kid's a poster child for everything you could possibly want your kid to be. Certainly wasn't him.
It seemed David and Diane had gotten away with murder until one of them started talking.
This was a big fantasy. This was a big boast for Diane. How can she keep this inside?
Diane entered the U.S. Naval Academy as planned. According to official reports, about 9 months after the murder, during a late-night gab session, she made a shocking revelation to her fellow cadets. Diane told them she and her boyfriend killed a girl. Bound by the cadets' code of honor, Diane's classmates reported the claim to their superiors.
When she was first confronted by the authorities from Texas at Annapolis, she denied any involvement. It was only after David Graham confessed and Diane became aware of that. And then when they took Diane Zamora's statement, that was the state's whole case. If those admissions had never been done, I don't think this case would have ever been solved.
On September 6, 1996, Diane Zamora was charged with first-degree murder in the death of Adrian Jones.
You had two young people who were the best and brightest, and for them to go so horribly over the edge and do what they did is just absolutely shocking.
The prosecution painted a grim picture of Adrian Jones' last moments.
Just do it. Shoot her. Kill her. Shoot her. The words of Diane Michelle Zamora.
Diane recanted the part in her statement at the time of trial. She says that she never told David Graham to kill Adrian Jones.
Did you make him do that, Diane?
No.
On February 17, 1998, after a 2-week trial, the jury delivered its verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant Diane Michelle Zamora guilty of the offense of capital murder as alleged in the indictment. Punishment is hereby set at life in prison.
In a separate trial, jurors took just 8.5 hours to convict David Graham of capital murder. He, too, was sentenced to life in prison. Due in part to a request from Adrian's parents, prosecutors did not seek the death penalty.
There had already been too much killing, too much death. Them having a sentence of life in prison was good enough. And of course, they got that.
Today, the former lovers serve their sentences in 2 different Texas prisons. Neither will be eligible for parole until 2036. Coming up, a beautiful young teacher, a shocking crime. We'll hear from the woman's ex-husband next.